Hello and good afternoon. We're going to take some time to review naming compounds. This means we're going to deal with ionic compounds, covalent compounds, as well as dealing with acids. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Your learning goal for this video is students will be able to name various compounds regardless of their composition. So we don't want you to just focus on ionic, on covalent, or on acids. We need to be able to do this for any compound that we come across. So let's jump right into it. Starting off with our nomenclature for ionic compounds. Basically 2 steps. We're going to start off naming the cation. Always goes first. We'll start off, it keeps its actual name. The monatomic ion keeps its name. So that means if it's aluminum, it's just going to remain aluminum. The only time this will change is if we have a Roman numeral. Sorry, a transition metal. Then we have to add the Roman numeral in parentheses. So if I have iron, I have to tell which version of iron it is. Iron 1, iron 2, iron 3, or so forth. The next step, we'll go and name the anion. If it's a monatomic, all we do is change the ending to IDE. So this is why we have oxide or fluoride, those types of things. If it has a polyatomic, makes things even simpler, we go ahead and keep the polyatomic name as it is. If you notice here at the bottom of the screen, the book references this on pages 60 to 70. Okay, this is where it's going to go through all the naming information. Next, covalent. Covalent is actually, I think, a lot easier. Naming the first element, you're going to keep the name as it is. If it's more than one, then all you have to do is use the correct prefix. Those are the similar ones we talked about last year. Mono, di, tri, and so forth. For the second element, you always have to use a prefix. If there's 1, or if there's 100, you have to use the correct prefix to state how many of them there are. Very basic, very straightforward. Last but not least, nomenclature for acids. Now, this has basically just a couple of rules to consider. For if the acid ends in "ide," the actual anion ends in "ide," all we're going to do is add the prefix hydro and end it with IC. So when we have HBr, which would be hydrogen bromide, in its acidic form, it will be hydrobromic acid. If the anion ends with 8, this means it's a polyatomic. All we're going to do is change the ending of our polyatomic to IC. So we have HNO3. If we take away the H, we will just have the nitrate ion. It becomes nitric acid. And last but not least, if it ends with ITE, what we're going to do is change the ending to OUS. So if I had the nitrite ion, when I add my hydrogen to make it an acid, it's going to become nitrous acid. The idea is going to stay basically the same. If you can memorize these 3 and apply these 3 practices, you'll be great in terms of naming compounds. That's what we're going to go ahead and end this video. I hope that it's helpful, and I'll see you in class.